Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is our Ring of Honor show for the week. Let's start right off from the beginning match. We had Josh Alexander and Ethan Gabriel Owens versus Red Dragon. This is the TV debut for Alexander and Gabriel Owens. To me it was they did a good job. It wasn't a bad match. I knew, and everybody else watching should have known, that the tag champions Red Dragon was going to go over. A little bit anticlimactic in that end, but still, you got to have someone start somewhere. Good match to bring them on the TV, especially with people that would pay attention with a team like Red Dragon. Next up, more debuts. Hakeem Zayn versus Moose. Now, if you don't remember, Moose is the rather large gentleman who they had a deal at the Best in the World pay-per-view that they said they hired him. To me, he came out and he instantly had that it factor that grabs you and says this guy is going to be a star. He's big, he's muscular, and he can actually wrestle. He's got a personality. All of the workings that you would need to make it huge in the wrestling business. And to be honest, a big guy like this in Ring of Honor, where they have a few, they have Rowan Hansen, they've had some in the past with guys like Corey Chavis and Rashea Brown, Samoa Joe, but big impressive guys have been few and far between in Ring of Honor. I like it. It gives it a different feel. The guy can actually wrestle, so he definitely belongs there. I definitely see Moose being a star. And dare I say, even a Ring of Honor champion, probably sooner than we know it. After the match, we have Veda Scott come out. If you've seen the pay-per-view, you've seen she offered to manage him. She brought Raymond or Ramon, however they pronounce it. They pronounced it both ways. With her, there seems to be some unspoken heat between Ramon and Moose. I don't know, the way they're eyeballing each other, looking like they want to fight each other. Maybe it'll be part of a backstory we find out later down the road. Now, coming off of that, we have our main event, a 4-way tag team match for the number 1 contendership to be had. I believe it's, what are they calling it, the base brawl or something like that, in Brooklyn. Basically, it's at a baseball field in Brooklyn. But anyway, Field of Honor, that's what it's called. It would have bothered me not to say that. Anyway, we got the Decade team of Roderick Strong and Jimmy Jacobs versus War Machine, Rowan Hansen, versus the Briscoe brothers, versus Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, formerly known as Bad Influence. Just a good match, kind of reminded me of what Ring of Honor began with the scramble matches they used to have, and the multiple people matches where you always have action, always have a guy tagging in and around. Yet during the match, Christopher Daniels took a lot of the punishment. However, the Daniels and Kazarian end up winning. I thought it was a really good match. The Decade in full force attacks them afterwards, where War Machine and the Briscoes stand up and help them back down the Decade. Just a great match, and as we see, the tag team division in Ring of Honor is not only surviving, but thriving and excelling. And they just hit it with the 2 matches they had there. We've seen 5 of the best tag teams in the world and a brand new tag team coming into the company. It makes for great television, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Now, something else I wanted to mention, if you watched the show last week, I was very hypercritical that for 4 weeks in a row, they didn't show new programming. It was all stuff that happened at Global Wars, Best in the World, and War of the Worlds. Then most of it happened before the pay-per-view. And the next 4 weeks after was all recap shows, which I was pretty negative on Ring of Honor about. This week, it's a new show, taped for this show, so there's not that holding it back. I didn't know these matches, I didn't know the outcomes. It felt fresh, it felt new. It helped me cleanse my palate. The storylines and what the announcers are talking about is stuff that's already happened. Instead of them being behind on the commentary, because the commentary was taped a month before, you kind of got a feeling it was fresher, which added to the overall enjoyment on my part, which brings us right into our ratings. Now, if you've seen our show before, or even if you haven't, we have a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'm giving the show a solid 4. Loved the tag team action. Loved seeing Moose out there. I thought he had a great debut. The only things that I took away that I didn't much like Josh Alexander and Ethan Gabriel Owens debuting against Red Dragon. They could have built them a little bit more before they go against the tag champions. Good match, not a great match. Probably the only thing that I wasn't 100% behind on the show. But basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.